So I'm here today with Charlie Brown of Ashoka's Changemakers. We're here to talk about open innovation and social innovation. And I'd like to start today by asking you, Charlie, to please take a moment and tell our viewers about Ashoka's Changemakers and the mission of the organization.
Great. So Ashoka's Changemakers is unique in the sense that what we really focus on is how to amplify existing social innovation that is out around the world. We believe that solutions are all around us. We're often surrounded by them almost to the point that we can't even see that they're right in front of our face. So the idea is, how do we actually identify solutions that are actually out there, the great innovations? How do we connect them with the resources, the community, the networks they need to really go to scale? And then how do we keep raising that bar of innovation day after day? The way that we do that is through online competitions. We believe sort of the prizes or the ability to create a competition or a competitive environment is a great way to find those innovations, create that marketplace, you're able to connect them, and then allow them to go that next step in growing and really excelling the pace at which they're solving problems. So that's Ashoka's Changemakers. And then as a whole, our parent organization is Ashoka. And Ashoka's vision is creating a society where everyone is a change maker. So our focus is that everyone has amazing potential. It's just there's not necessarily a conduit to go and achieve that. So they do a lot of different pieces. They elect social entrepreneurs and fund social entrepreneurs, look at developing new business models that connect social organizations to corporations to service bottom of the pyramid communities. But Changemakers has really become the core engagement activity for the rest of the world that's out there to come and actually find out, how do you be a change maker? So you could enter a competition, you could sponsor a competition. All of them are open and transparent. So you have people coming in and just saying, hey, here's a great entry. Here's a great idea about sports as a tool for conflict resolution. And it's an interesting idea, but what would be more interesting is if you actually had a franchise model that spread that around the world, or you actually understood a clear marketing strategy. So they may not have the innovation themselves, but it's where somebody can come in, provide their skill set, and offer the expertise to make something even better.
Sounds great. I think it's great to bring people together, help advance ideas, and make them more powerful. It's a great concept. So what are the biggest challenges you face in ensuring high participation and high quality submissions?
To me, everything starts with the framing. It's understanding, what are you looking for? Why do you need innovations? And I think too many times we actually go out there and say, I have a problem, but it's a problem. It's not necessarily the right problem. So we take a lot of time before we would ever launch a competition to understand, what innovation are we actually looking for? Really map what's already out there, what's already existing in the field. And the fact that we have somewhere around 10,000 innovators from around over 100 countries that we can pull from, we've got a good idea of what's existing in the world. Now let's go out and really challenge the world to sort of one-up that. How do we raise the bar? So I think when we look at getting quality entries, it's understanding that you got to start with quality. So you got to start with a quality community, and you have to start with a good idea of what innovation already exists. I would say the other thing is making it a fun experience. It should be fun, and although sometimes we're solving really complicated, hard social problems, we've got to go out there and really be positive about how we're solving it, not dwell on the problem itself, but dwell on the solution. And how do we actually get there? So really framing the solution, framing what is it that we're looking for, mapping what's already out there so that we have a sort of quality threshold for innovation, and then making it a fun experience.
Sounds good. I think that's a very good way of approaching it. So third question, how do people generally interact with the contest? Do they generally do it as individuals, or do they do it as groups? Do you encourage collaboration?
So it happens in sort of myriad of ways, and we certainly encourage collaboration. A lot of times when we at least talk internally, or when we're talking about our competitions, we actually call them collaborative competitions. We're specifically looking at the competition as the space to be creative and certainly challenge each other. But the way we're actually going to excel and get to that next level is by collaborating with each other. And we think collaborating happens in lots of different ways. It happens directly and indirectly, or sort of passively at times. So I may come on to our competition at changemakers.com, look at an actual entry and say, oh, that's really interesting what they did in the field of water filtration. I should take that idea and I should go and run with it. Or sometimes I'll say, it's a brilliant idea, here's the perfect partner. Now I'm going to partner my organization with them. Or I'm going to say, I can do better than that. And so the people that we actually have inside the actual Changemakers community or competition are actively benchmarking, sharing ideas, trading ideas, looking for new insights into what they may already do. And they're doing that in as far as the groupings as individuals. So you may have an individual with a new idea or somebody who just wants to contribute and collaborate. They're doing it as their organizations. So you may have an organization such as Brock or any other sort of citizen sector social organization around the world entering their innovation. You may have it as groups of people that met online. So they may meet during the competition, come together, form an idea or consolidate their ideas and interact that way. And then lastly, we have investors or corporations that are looking for new ideas or foundations that are looking for their next big investment, and they're interacting through the site to sort of make that marketplace connection.
So you have partners, other foundations that oftentimes put up the prize money, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. And final question, what innovation in the nonprofit area do you feel is the most needed?
Yeah, I would say whether it's what's interesting is that innovation in the nonprofit area, I think it's bleeding over into the for-profit or government, and the sectors are merging so quickly that sometimes it's hard to decipher what an organization is. So at first glance, you say, "Oh, it's a nonprofit," and then you realize it's a for-profit, or it's an outshoot of the government. So when we look at our competitions, it's fascinating because we'll end up with, say, a set of the best innovations or the finalist of a competition, and you'll have an academic institution, a very small nonprofit, a very large nonprofit, a corporation, a government entity, military group. So it's fascinating to see how it's all blending together. And I think if we specifically looked at nonprofits or the social sector and said, what is the next big innovation? It's realizing that that's happening, accepting that it's happening, and starting to compete at that higher level. So when we look at our competitions, one of the things that makes us excited is when you see a Procter & Gamble sitting next to an entry from a U.S. military, sitting next to an entry from a United Way from Iowa. That's when we're like, oh, this is getting really interesting. Now people are being forced to break out of their silos. They're being forced to think in new ways. And they're all sort of collaborating, whether it's that direct or indirect collaboration, to come up with a better solution.
Well, that's great. I think it's very powerful as government, charity, or nonprofits and business all come together. I think we can achieve a lot for the greater good, and whether it's social innovation or business innovation, if ultimately it improves the lives of people around the world, I think we all benefit. So, so I appreciate the time, Charlie Brown of Ashoka's Changemakers, and again, this is Braden Kelly of blogginginnovation.com.
Thanks.